On this week's episode, Marvel drops the mic on DC at Comic Con. Vince McMahon says goodbye to the WWE. And are gamers the cat's meow with Stray? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, the Lakers Fast Break, Game Source, Humanican Media, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and all the great things that we do because we're the #1 tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook and also as well on Facebook at Pop Culture Cosmos. We cover the latest news and trends in pop culture, including over 60 articles and interviews and everything going on in the past few days at Comic-Con, which you can catch right now. The link, all the links, every single one of the links, over 60 articles relating to Comic-Con right there posted in the newsfeed at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. And also as well, great interviews as well, plus our tabletop RPG action that we do so many times a week. And if you can catch all that, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He's our own happy hoarder of Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to go ahead and catch what he's doing today at popculturecosmos.com. Of course, his great book, Congratulations You Suck, which you can get available right now at Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Plus his great shows, the Super BS Gamescast and Topic Oculus. Plus, I think he has an announcement as well. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
Oh, what's good, man?
Notice,
How you doing? I'm just trying to put together this list of these Marvel Phase 4 has been a weird one. Anyways, I'm sorry. How you doing?
good, but Phase 4 has been a weird one, my friend. It's been all over the place. I know a lot of people like myself have been complaining about it as far as the direction, but it's almost to an end. And in fact, the complete 4, 5, and 6 phases have been announced by Marvel, with some exceptions on the tail end of it. But we'll talk about that because Comic Con is now concluded. It has now concluded. It's all over. San Diego Comic Con is now in the books, and we'll talk about the best of Comic Con. That's coming up on the show. Plus, also as well, John Orlando's coming by here in a few minutes to talk about Vince McMahon and the WWE because he finally felt the pressure about what was going on with the allegations and all the money, the hush money that's been given out. He actually went up and did the impossible. He actually retired this past week. I talked to John Orlando on what that means, plus also as well the future of the WWE. That's coming up here in a few minutes. We also talk about Nope winning at the box office, Shark Week on Discovery, and also as well Meow Stray. Is that going to be a hit for gamers? That's going to be
It
coming
is right now.
Yeah, it is right now, that's for sure. We'll talk about what Stray is if you haven't heard already. That's coming up on the show as well. Plus, again, on the back half, we're devoting the back half to everything Comic Con. But before we go ahead into all the breaking news and everything that went down all over the place in the past few days, what's going on with the Happy Hoarder?
So the Happy Hoarder is a little concept I've been working on for a while now. A couple years ago, I was like, you know what? I miss Toys R Us. I miss KB Toys. And we've talked about this on the show all the time, right? Like we going down memory lane, going to old toy stores, and it's just like the happiness you got. And I was
Toys
like,
R Us at Macy's nationwide, that really doesn't do it for me.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't because you have to. It's in a Macy's, like it's not its own thing. And some of them are going to be super tiny, like the Disney sections in the JC Penney, or like the toy section in JC Penney's. Some are going to be really big. It's hard to say, but I kind of like would love to recreate. I was like, I want to recreate that feeling. Like, I want to give people a place to go, and I know that like being a collector is really hard in the era of the scalper, with that whole culture created by COVID-19. So I have been over the past couple years building inventory of things, picking them up online, and if I see stuff something good at like an auction, I'll pick it up. And so I've been collecting things with the purpose of eventually opening this the Happy Hoarder, which is going to be a comic book store, a toy store, collectibles, trading cards, things that pop culture oriented things. And right now I'm working on getting the all the licenses I need to resell and all that, all the tax forms and all that. And the hope is, I'm going to start out. I built this really cool website. We're starting out online, and eventually, I'd like to open some physical locations. This has been like years in the making for me. So I'm just taking it one step at a time. But the Happy Hoarder is coming soon. It's going to be awesome. Things will be affordable. I promise you that. And, yeah, there's going to be more news on that coming soon. But for right now, it's all just in the stages of planning. I don't want to give any details away because I don't want something to change at the last minute and me not be able to pull through with that. But stay tuned, like I'll create some social media pages and the website will be up soon. So you'll be able to know more about that soon.
Sounds good, my friend. I'm wishing you all the best, and anything that I can do to help you out on that, just let me know. Just truly appreciate
Absolutely.
everything that you've done for me over the years, and it's the least I can do in return. But is the Happy Hoarder, and you'll be hearing more about it right here on the show as well. But first, my friend, want to go ahead and knock out a couple things before we get to the nitty gritty, the main event, the past few days at Comic Con. But before we do, want to go ahead and cover a few things real quick. Nope wins at the box office 44 million, slightly under projections of what Hollywood was hoping that it could do. But I think a lot of people were excited about what was going on with Comic Con, so maybe they were distracted by what's going on. But it is another hit for Jordan Peele with an outstanding movie. Again, the reviews are really, really solid, coming in very high for him once again. This looks to be a great part of his horror trilogy that he has out there. I love the fact, again, as I mentioned on the Friday show, that it reminds everybody about the greatness of Fry's Electronics now that they are, rest in peace, no longer there. But your
Mhm.
thoughts on Nope
Did
before?
yours close? Your fries? I know you had a giant one out in Vegas. Is that one shut
Yeah,
down?
the whole company's
Oh,
done. The whole company, even the online, is rest in peace.
that's so sad. It's so sad.
Yes.
Um, yeah, anyways, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yeah. See, I blew you away with
I
fries.
I know, I just got so focused on that.
I mean, because you were when you lived in Anaheim, there was more than one available to
Oh,
you.
yeah, yeah, we still have. I remember when I was in, there's still one in Orange County too, like, I think it was in, Fountain
Not
Valley, they still had one
not
off
in,
the side of the freeway, yeah.
not anymore. I remember that one well. But yes, your thoughts on Nope?
So, I'm actually really fascinated by this movie. I've been kinda like I've seen a lot of trailers for it, and it looks funny, but it also looks scary, and it also looks intense. Like it seems like a mashup of genres. But I've also been reading that like he's done a great job of showing just how addicted we are to spectacle, and it's the whole movie is like this big piece of subversion going on. Like you think it's one thing and it ends up not being that, and so I don't know. Like it. See, I'm wanting to watch it. I've heard great things about it. I don't know if I'll get a chance to catch it in theaters, but I'll definitely be watching it when it comes out. And I think Jordan Peele does a great job of putting things together like that. And it's great that he is a filmmaker that puts out original things that people actually do go to the movies to watch. And I think that we need more people out there like him doing the things that he does.
Building the tension, building the suspense, and then getting to it, and then also executing on the horror aspect of it. Truly a great artist in and of himself. He just truly cannot appreciate enough all the great things he's done already with his films. Get Out, Us, and now, of course, what we see with Nope. So if you get a chance, please go ahead and check out Nope. I think it's a must for horror fans. Of course, like I said, number one at the box office, $44 million here domestically, and doing very well for itself, even though it's like, again, slightly under expectations financially. But again, on a weekend of Comic Con, I think a lot of people were distracted. So still, great reviews for Nope. If you have thoughts on Nope, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Before we hit the break, my friend, a couple more things to cover. Discover Shark Week is here, which is the biggest time of the year for the Discovery Channel and everything related to it, plus the added benefit of now being part of HBO Max and also the Discovery Channel and all that as far as their streaming services are concerned. Any thoughts on Shark Week hitting it up this week on the Discovery Network?
No, not particularly. I've burnt out on Shark Week a long time ago. I know people still like it. My brother still makes a big deal out of it, but it's not. I don't go out of my way to watch these anymore. Like what I love about the streaming services is that I can pick and choose what shows I want to watch. I don't have to tune in at a specific time. Like I remember last year, I really liked watching, Josh Gates. Like I love watching his shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he did one with William Shatner, and that was good, and I watched a couple of those with my kids, but like I just Shark Week doesn't do it for me anymore. And I also noticed that Disney is doing like a competing Shark Week type of thing with their Nat Geo stuff.
Imagine that. Why would that be? Maybe they finally caught on to the fact that Shark Week is one of the most popular parts of the year for the Discovery Network,
Hmm.
and I think that probably is the case. So that's why they've got something on there for Nat Geo fans out there. But yes, it is Shark Week. It is available this week on the Discovery Network. If you have thoughts on Shark Week, is it your favorite time of the year to go ahead and check out everything Discovery? Please let us know if you get bitten by Shark Week. Please let us know. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. My friend, before we hit the break and we hit John Orlando covering the retirement of Vince McMahon from the WWE, which I never thought I would say those words because I pretty much assumed he was going to die with the WWE, but that shows you what scandal can do, even in today's age. I want to go ahead and make sure we mention the latest hit game that came out. I told everybody my thoughts recently on how I thought there was a dearth of releases so far this year, but a solidly rated game just came out and it seems to be getting well supported. It seems to be well restreamed out there by gamers all around the world. Meow. It's called Stray, about a cat meandering through a a futuristic world in which no humans are just interacting with the robots, but basically it's a futuristic type world where this you go and navigate through it. You're solving puzzles as a cat. Your thoughts on Stray, which has hit consoles and PC with a vengeance?
So it's not a game. I mean, I'm glad it's doing great. And I remember it being discussed at the Sony State of Play. It looks cool. It looks like something that could be. It would definitely find an audience, but I feel like this is a game that's more catering towards like the Goat Simulator crowd, people
Yes,
who
I
like
was
games
going to
like
say
that.
that. A cat
Yeah,
simulator per se.
right, right. And it's again, like I love the concept. I love how it's making video games accessible to people who normally wouldn't play them. Because I was sitting here thinking, like, oh man, like this would be a good game for my kids to play. Like they love cats, and I would love for them to love video games a little bit more. So hey, maybe this is something they could get into. So that being said, like. I'm glad it's getting all the love that's getting, but it's not something that like I'm gonna go out of my way to play. But I can see why people are loving it. It basically at its core it's a walking simulator. I don't think there's any like combat in the game uh,
No, no.
that you can do. So, there's a lot of games out there like that, and that just goes to show like their video games there's something out there for everybody. If someone who says like, oh, I don't like to play games because I can never find any I like they just haven't looked hard enough. You have games like this, games like Night in the Woods or Hellblade Senua's uh
I know which.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Senua's Sacrifice.
yeah. I mean, there's games out there for everybody, and it's I'm stoked that people are liking this game.
Absolutely. It looks like something that I think that for many it's going to be very entertaining. How long though? I'm not so sure because I think it
Right.
has a limited lifespan. But for now, I think it's capturing the attention of a lot of gamers. I think that's partially again because of the fact we are in a down year for video games because of
Yeah.
the lack of video game titles that are out there, in my opinion. I think
Um,
again, I said this is one of the worst years ever for video games, in my opinion. I just think of video games outside of that brief window in time where we had the what
we
Elden
had
Ring and
Elden
Horizon.
Ring and
Yep.
Stranger of Paradise, Horizon, yeah, and Gran Turismo. Like there's definitely some things that came out, but they were not. I know what you're saying. It's not
They
like
were all they all came out together, and then that after
cluster.
that, not much. Yeah, not much more after that. So
Well, let me before we move on from video games, let me ask you a question. Ubisoft this week has announced that they are not going to be continuing with the development of some games that people had kind of been, they had discussed a while back. They're canceling, they're stopping development on the Splinter Cell VR.
yes,
The new Tom Clancy games, I think they're stopping development on those. Uh, I think Skull and Bones is it's coming out, but it's
yes,
not what everybody was expecting it to be. So it just goes to show that there's a lot, outside of Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft doesn't really, there's something going on behind the scenes. Like I keep waiting for them to say like, "Hey, we're not going to do Beyond Good and Evil 2 anymore." But there's something going on at Ubisoft that is creating a lot of issues. And I know that there's discussions of them being bought out by
yes.
another company, but I don't know, like this goes to show that like what's going to happen here?
Well, Ubisoft was all over the place, and now I think they're just streamlining for cost-cutting measures. I really think that their grandiose designs on them becoming one of the top three video game publishers that are out there. I think that they had visions of being at that level, and they never really quite made it. They came close, but I think that they're at a level where they are right now that I don't think will ever be helped. I don't think they're ever will evolve beyond where they're at as far as at a level. They will never reach the top three as far as the marquee names in the business, but they're still obviously with Assassin's Creed and everything else that they
Right.
make. They're
Uh,
still obviously a valued treasure of the video game industry.
Yeah, it seems like for every game they make that sells, million plus copies, there's like 5 or 6 that come out and are just like critically hated by everybody.
And dead on arrival from the
Mhm.
gamers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts out there on what's going on with the video game industry? And are you happy? Are you purring like a cat with Stray, the video game that just came out this past week? Please let us know if your thoughts, if you're excited about playing Stray. Please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, coming up next, John Orlando from the PVD cast and I break down the retirement that was announced on Friday by Vince McMahon. He's retiring from the WWE. What does that mean for the company? What does that mean for the future of pro wrestling? We talk about that. And then on the back end, Comic Con, Comic Con, Comic Con. We're talking nothing but Comic Con right after the half hour break, where we talk about what's good, what's going on with Marvel, DC, and more. We'll talk about that coming up on the back end of the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back with the show. It's the Pop Culture Cosmos. Want to thank so much John Orlando from the PVD cast for stopping by, talking the retirement of Vince McMahon from the WWE. My friend, Comic Con was back with a vengeance. My gosh, so much took place over the past 4 days. 5 days, really, when you consider all the hype that was going into it. But oh, just so much to talk about, my friend. But obviously, the big news going in was what was going to happen with the ultimate matchup, Marvel versus DC. It looked like it could have been an even horse race heading into it, with everybody starting to question what was going on with Marvel's Phase 4 and DC with several successes already under the belt in the past couple years, looking like they were going to go ahead and really challenge what Marvel had to offer. All they had to do was go ahead and present themselves like that when it came to what went down. But oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that, Josh? I think that sound you heard was a mic drop by Marvel, as DC only really showed off as far as the big projects are concerned, what's coming up this year, and Black Adam and also Shazam, while Marvel dropped it all. The rest of Phase 4, Phase 5, and Phase 6, outside of some upcoming TV projects sometime around Phase 5 and Phase 6. They pretty much announced their entire slate going forward. Before I announce everything that is coming up in Phase 4, Phase 5, and Phase 6, your thoughts on Marvel versus DC at Comic Con?
DC's in a very precarious situation. I know you discussed this with TJ on last
Last week.
last week's show. Yeah. Um, yeah, they I noticed they didn't like the Flash was coming out in October, November, I think, and but they did not really showcase anything from that, probably deciding
That's
it'd
been
be
bumped back.
has it? When's it coming out
Yeah.
now?
Flashpoint. I'm going to find out the release date, but I think that's what they talked about as far as everything that was coming up this year was only with Shazam and also as well Black Adam. So
Oh, geez. They have to just bite the bullet and put that one out for people. Like they need to if that's going to be the springboard for the changes moving forward, they need to just put that movie out, just get it over with. Um, I don't know what the discussions are with Ezra Miller or whatever, but they need to. They at Comic Con they had a very muted presence because I think that film is creating a lot of uncertain. That film in Ezra Miller, it's creating a lot of uncertainty in their future plans right now. So they're playing it safe, putting out Black Adam, which looks fantastic, by the way, and Shazam looks okay. It looks like it's going to be more of like a comedic tone of a film, just like the last one. But yeah, I mean, I think they did good playing it safe and kind of seeing like where they're going. And it sucks, because Marvel did announce all these things, and they did disappoint a lot of people with DC saying that they're not going to continue the Snyderverse. But I think Marvel will once again have the upper hand moving forward until they iron out all these Flash related things.
it just, or I guess I'm going to tell you right now, I think that they blew it. I think they had every opportunity to take Comic Con and they blew it. And because they were afraid to show off Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and Flashpoint, I think that that was a disappointment. I think that if they really wanted to go ahead and make an impression with fans and really try and take it from Marvel, I think they should have gone ahead and announced their full slate coming up in the next couple of years. And they didn't. And people
Yeah.
are talking about Marvel. Again, this is just like reminds me of what 2018 or 2019 when Marvel announced its full slate before everything hit with coronavirus, and they
Right.
showcased it and they blew away DC. DC had the opportunity to go ahead and blow everybody away, and they didn't. And it's up
Yeah.
to them. They can only look at themselves for blame.
No, I know, but in their defense, though, like I think there's a fear of creating a PR nightmare with stuff like that because, like, oh, hey, they're at Comic Con promoting Flashpoint. Ezra Miller is a jerk, like they're
And Amber Heard with her issues with the Johnny
r-
Depp case.
Johnny Depp and Aquaman. I think they were scared of becoming the I don't know, the black sheep of the of the comic book movies.
Well, the thing is, though, they also had other TV shows that are supposedly in development, like the Jeffrey Lewis show. They've got also as well the show featuring the shows featuring Penguin and Commissioner Gordon. They were talking,
Mhm.
they should have shown that off from HBO Max. They could have done a lot of things to support what's going on in recent times coming up here in the near future with Black Adam and also Shazam. So kind of disappointed by what I didn't see from DC
Yeah,
because
oh,
again,
absolutely. No, and I completely agree with you. Like they could have taken risks, but they just played it too safe, I think.
they did play it too safe, and I think it cost them in the eyes of pop culture fans all over because again, Marvel showed up and Marvel showed up guns ablazing, and pardon the pun on that, but Marvel showed up with everything that they could go ahead and show off, that they wanted to go ahead and show off, I should say. They
Mhm.
went ahead and they announced the end of Phase 4, and they announced what is coming up in Phase 5 and what's coming up for the most part in Phase 6. Now, mind you, some of the things on the back end, like after Captain America New World Order, which I'll come talk about a release date here in a sec, I think that they're going to fill in the late 20, mid to late 24, 25. Those years are going to have more television shows for Disney Plus that they don't have yet fully realized. So I think that people need to go ahead and understand there's more coming up down the road. But for right now, here's what they announced. The end of Phase 4 is going to have She-Hulk, which is going to be on Disney Plus on August 17th, and Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. That we saw, both of those we saw tremendous trailers for. That's coming out on November 11th. So those two are ending Phase 4. And again, we have links to those trailers right now at the Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook.
The
Phase 5. Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. No, I was gonna say the Black Panther got really stoked at the end of the She-Hulk trailer because my boy Matt Murdock showed up in his new
Yes.
Daredevil gear.
Yes. We'll
Um,
talk a lot about Daredevil here in a sec.
yes, the Wakanda Forever trailer, like it was really cool. It was a spectacle, and I love Namor being introduced into this world.
Yes.
But that's all the trailer was. There's like no hint at to what the movies is about. And like that's what I really want to know. Like what's happening. Obviously, they're playing to the fact that Chadwick Boseman's not around anymore. The Queen is having some issues. We see that struggles with the more like what is happening here? Like what's going on? I want to know. I want some story beats. Tell me what this film is about. Come on.
And also hints of Doctor Doom. People are talking about that. That could be a possibility, but mainly that they're also talking about is the fact that there could be a battle coming up between Wakanda and Atlantis coming up in the near future in Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. So yeah, it looks really good. Really impressed with that. And of course, She-Hulk. I'm really starting to dig what's coming up with She-Hulk. Looking forward to that as well. And then Marvel Phase 5 was announced with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. That's coming out on February 17th of next year. Secret Invasion. They showed off a trailer for that in-house at Comic-Con. Did not release it to the public yet, but that's coming out in spring 2023. They also showed a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in-house. That's coming up on May 5th, 2023. Echo, which is coming out. That Disney Plus series, Echo, is coming out in summer of 2023. Loki season 2 is also coming out in summer 2023. I know that's a follow up to a much beloved Disney Plus series. Everybody's looking forward to that one. The Marvels, aka Captain Marvel 2, that's coming out in July 28th of next year. Blade, which is something
The,
we're really hoping for. That's coming
the
out. Well, let me just. Oh,
oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Blade is coming out November 3rd of next year. Ironheart is coming out fall of 2023. And we're actually going to see an introduction to the character in Wakanda Forever. So please go ahead and check that out. And Agatha, Coven of Chaos, that comes out in the winter of 2023 and 2024. So it's going to be, it sounds like it's going to be something that's going to be overlapping like late December, early January. Daredevil, Born Again, spring of 2024. That's going to be 18 episodes, and I'm going to talk about with that with Josh coming up here in a sec. Captain America: New World Order, May the 3rd, 2024, and Thunderbolts, July 26th, 2024. That's going to be a movie in theaters. That's coming up, and that's going to end Phase 5. They may sneak another TV show or TV series or two in there, but I think that's pretty much settling Phase 5. Your thoughts and comments on Phase 5 from Marvel?
So I have a feeling we're gonna get another Spider-Man somewhere in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it's phase 5 or phase 6, like this schedule is not set in stone. We're gonna have there will be a Spider-Man somewhere in there.
Oh, yeah. These are
Um,
all subject to change without
r-
notice.
right, absolutely. And okay, so a few things. There's been no talk about what's going on with the Eternals, right? Like that's one of the biggest open-ended things right now. I get people didn't like the Eternals.
Didn't
But
make much less again than Shang-Chi, so need to make sure
right.
everybody knows that.
Yeah, and that's another one. There's no Shang-Chi sequel showing up in there too.
Yeah.
And you know, Shang-Chi is pretty close-ended, but like the Eternals, like they left that big open thing, right? Like the Eternals got kidnapped, and then they're just not going to go back to that story. So hopefully, in one of these things, that will be addressed. Do you think? Okay, so my first question here, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, cool. You know, it's more of the same. Uh, do you think that Miss Marvel will show up in the Marvels?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel be part of the Marvels. I mean, after we saw the end credit scene in Miss Marvel, it really alludes to that as far as her continuing the story, especially after the final credit scene with her and Captain Marvel. I think that definitely states that that she's going to be a part of the Marvels in July 28th,
Okay.
2023.
That would make sense. Blade looks like I mean they didn't show anything, but I'm excited. I always liked the Blade movies. You know, I really love Guillermo del Toro's take on Blade 2.
Hmm.
What's the lead actor in this one's name?
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, yeah, he was great. You know, like I love his I love the things that he's done. Do you think we're gonna see Kit Harrington return as the Ebony Knight in this one at some point?
You never know. Could be because it looks like he will be branching out beyond the Eternals as far as what his value and his
Mhm.
importance to the overall MCU. I think that was alluded to at the very end of the Eternals as well. So
Yeah.
I really think that you could see him somewhere along the lines. And of course, since he interacted with Blade in that final cutscene in the
Yep.
Eternals, I really think that you could see him in Blade in some form or fashion as well.
Yeah, because he has in the comic books, like he's led the Avengers at certain points. So I mean, you know, that could be cool. Um,
Two things I want to ask you real quick
yeah.
is
Sorry.
Agatha, and no worries. Agatha Coven of Chaos in the winter of 2023 and 2024. Obviously, they loved the character, similar to what we saw with Loki, where maybe they didn't have originally long term plans for that character, but she did such a great job in WandaVision. It looks like they're
Mhm.
going to build at least a mini series for her. What, 6, 8 episodes? I see. We'll talk about Daredevil here in a sec, but your thoughts on Agatha Coven of Chaos?
Okay, so this one's interesting to me. I first of all like the actress that plays Agatha, love her in just about everything she's in. So excited to see her come back. I think judging by the She-Hulk trailer that the Book of Ashanti is still something to be concerned about, and I'm wondering if they're going to end up tying that back into this series, like giving her a chance to like really be, you know, redeem herself from the what she did in WandaVision. Other than that, like maybe it'll end up being like a hocus pocus like thing. Like, is it going to have greater ramifications in the MCU, or is it just kind of like a hey, here we are, Hocus Pocus 2 came out a couple months ago. Let's keep on keeping on with this, you know?
Well, the one thing I wanted to ask you as well in regards to Phase 5 is also Daredevil Born Again. That's coming in the spring 2024.
Mhm.
It's not that he's coming back because we've known if you've caught this show, you've known that Daredevil is going to be coming. It was going to be coming back. That was not a surprise. The surprise
Mhm.
is 18 episodes.
18 episodes. Like the Netflix ones usually ran from anywhere from like 8 to 12, I think, were the
And
episodes.
that's the thing. We're now conditioned as streaming entities. We're now conditioned as streaming fans and streaming followers for the shows on streaming to last 6 to 10 episodes. This is
Mhm.
almost like a broadcast network type deal where broadcast networks still do the traditional 22 episodes on their biggest shows. So, your
Do you
thoughts on 18 episodes, man? That might be too long of a
It
story
might
to
be
tell.
too long, but this one do you think that they're going to split it up, like part 1, part 2 maybe?
Could be they split it out over a course of what they might do a Stranger Things where they put a part one and
Mhm.
part two.
'Cause
Yeah,
it seems like it'd be perfect for that format. As for the show itself, like, I'm stoked, you know, I love like, this is me and my wife, the only reason and I don't feel like I'm alone in this, like, the only reason we're still tuning into the MCU is because of Daredevil, like, we love that show so much, we love Charlie Cox, and we love everything he's brought to that character. Vincent D'Onofrio's coming back, you know, like, that is really cool. So, one, I know Daredevil's going to be in the She-Hulk, right? And then he's supposed to show up in Echo.
Yes.
Allegedly, he's going to be show up at some point in Secret Invasion. So I don't know what's going on with that. But Daredevil Born Again, like, let me okay. So Born Again is one of Frank Miller's like most famous comic books stories that he's written in the Daredevil universe.
Hmm.
I thought that the last season of Daredevil on Netflix was based loosely on Born Again, right? Because we have Karen Page, her days as a heroin addict. We have him meeting his mom. We have him, he's like half dead after the Defenders. He gets run off the road in that taxi cab, picked up by his mom. Whatever, like all the great, all like the cool, gritty things from Born Again they used in season 3. So what is Born Again going to be here? So is it based on Frank Miller's comic books, you think, or is it more of like an ode to like, oh hey, Daredevil is being born again in the MCU? Like, what do you think? Is it more like symbolic, or do you think they're going to try to take like what was left of the Frank Miller comic book, which there's not much left of?
I don't think they'll take much from it. I think they'll create their own thing, have some elements from it, but for the most part, it's going to be its own thing. You know, Marvel, when it comes to the MCU, it changes around a lot from what the comic books have. So I don't
Mhm.
see that it's going to stay verbatim to what has been already transcribed in the comic books. I really
Yeah.
don't think that, especially over 18 episodes, I really think that's going to be something they're going to have to figure out exactly how they're going to make that enticing for people to follow for 18 episodes. That's
Yeah.
the big key.
So I guess two more questions before we move on from Daredevil. One, do you think they're going to be bringing the rest of the cast over, as far as like Foggy Nelson and Karen Page and really, I think that's all the important characters. I was reading also there. Jessica Jones is supposed to be in the Karen, or not Karen. What's her name? Ritter's. What's her first name? Ritter something. Uh,
It's
it's,
yeah,
it's
just
Jessica Ritter, or whatever.
Jessica
No,
Ritter, I believe. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, they're bringing her. She's supposed to be in this mini series at some point. So I don't know what's going on with that. But
Kristen Ritter. Kristen Ritter.
Kristen Ritter. Okay. Um, so do you think they're going to be bringing those characters over?
They have to, especially again, 18 episodes. Got to fill it up with something, my friend. So
Okay.
that's my biggest concern is the 18 episodes. I really think that
Yeah.
you're trying to go ahead and space that out. I really am wondering what they're planning to do with those 18 episodes because for streaming fans, that's a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's my next question here. With 18 episodes, like this obviously has to have, and this is the last thing before Captain America and the Thunderbolts, which are obviously going to have huge implications moving into phase
Phase
6.
six.
We got Kang the
Well,
Conqueror showing
let
up.
me mention what Phase Six. Let me
Okay.
go ahead and the rest of the announced projects were Marvel Phase Six. So we head after the Thunderbolts, we head into Phase Six with Fantastic Four, November 8th, 2024, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, May 2nd, 2025, and Avengers: Secret Wars, November 7th, 2025. That is Marvel Phase Six. The only thing, again, mentioned there, there's going to be some TV shows sprinkled in. I know Armor Wars was the first thing people
Mhm.
said. Why? What happened to that? What happened to that? They're swearing at Marvel in comments made after the announcement that there still will be an Armor Wars, so maybe suspected sometime around there. I do know Don Cheadle is going to be appearing in Secret Invasion because the actual clip that they showed with him and Nick Fury was shown at Comic Con, was
Yeah.
not shown to the public, but was shown at Comic Con. So I know he's going to be back as Rhodey there. I'm assuming Armor Wars will still be on the plate at some point in time during Phase 5 or Phase 6. And of course, again, you've got to go ahead and just understand that probably there's still more to come as far as TV shows for the Disney
Mhm.
Plus side during that period of time. Maybe the Ten Rings, because they said the Ten Rings would return. If you remember if you remember Shang-Chi, seeing that, so maybe something relating to the Ten Rings. Then, other stuff may come down the pike that they want to go ahead and cover. Nova, is that going to go ahead and be still a series? That, I mean, they started development on that, so they didn't announce when that's going to come around. So that could be something we could see in 24, 25 during
Yeah.
the latter part of Phase 5, Phase 6. So
Yeah.
most of the slate has been shown to us, I think, for Phase 4, Phase 5, and Phase 6. Your final thoughts on Marvel before before we head to the break.
Okay, well, let me finish my last question here with Daredevil. Do you think going back 18 episodes, do you think that because of how beloved a character that he is, that he's the last thing before Captain America and Thunderbolts, do you think he that series will have big implications going forward?
It has to. In order to keep everybody interested in watching it, especially the general audience out there for
Yeah.
18 episodes, you're
Mhm.
going to have something big. You're going to have to make it big.
Yeah.
And if it's not, if it's just a regular like Netflix, what they showed off there was just an episode of the week type deal.
Yeah.
Of course, the end leading up to the battle between Kingpin and Daredevil, that's different. But for the most part, it was an episode of the week type deal.
Yeah.
Then you're going to lose fans, you're going to lose viewers, you're going to lose
Uh,
interest. So it's got
absolutely.
to be made to be important, and something's got to go down to make it last for 18 episodes.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so my closing thoughts here. I think obviously we're going to get another Spider-Man movie at some point. Deadpool is going to be in one of these phases at some point. Their word of the mutants, I guess maybe they're not
Yes.
calling it X-Men, is going to be in there. So yeah, I definitely think we're going to be getting a lot more in here. And come Comic Con next year, I'm sure we'll have a um, more detailed timeline. But oh yeah, it's like
Maybe even D23.
right, right, and there's a lot of big things. I think that this was smart, detailing so far ahead because, like we've talked about before, and I know TJ discussed that you and TJ discussed this last week. Like, there is Marvel burnout, right? And people at this point, people are watching it just because there's Marvel stuff, but has anybody truly liked what's been on? Thor, despite the getting decent box office numbers, people are not really enjoying the movie. Like, there's a lot of talk. People have said, "Hey, you need to bring Kenneth Branagh back and stop making Thor like the laughing stock of the MCU." Like, it was good in Ragnarok because there's a story being told, but with Love and Thunder, there's no story. It's just Thor being a bumbling idiot the entire time. So Doctor Strange, people have not really enjoyed that much. The Eternals, people didn't really like that much. So they haven't done a good job of like catering to people who are experiencing that burnout. But I think they made a good move saying like, hey, there's gonna be another big Avengers event here. But I guess my closing question to you though is, do you think that we saw Avengers Infinity War, we saw Endgame, that was huge, right? Thanos was terrifying, and the fights with Thanos, the fights with his army, how are they going to top that?
I don't know. I mean, is Kang really going to become that individual that's going to supplant Thanos as the big baddie to an entire world of people that are watching the Marvel universe? Is the Secret Wars going to be something so devastating that you have to go ahead and can't miss it, like the event that was Avengers Infinity War and Avengers
Mhm.
Endgame? I don't know. We'll wait and see. It is coming out the same year. It's not going through a full 365 days before one Avengers comes before after. I mean, they're planned now to be in the same calendar year, so that I think is a smart move. So hopefully you will keep that excitement, that buzz for Phase 6. But you're right, so much was not announced. Deadpool, Armor Wars.
Mhm.
What's going on with the Eternals? Shang-Chi, is that going to be extended? I don't know. We'll wait and see. There's still, I think, more to come, more to be announced. And of course, we're going to cover it right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But if you have thoughts on why Marvel or DC, we pretty much know Marvel, won Comic Con, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, we're going to run down real quickly what else, the major stuff that happened also as well at Comic Con. Want to make sure everybody knows that, of course, The Walking Dead, they showcased a trailer covering its final episodes as far as for the original series. They showed the spin-off. They showed looks at the spin-off series, but the major news for The Walking Dead is Andrew Lincoln and Danai Gurira, they're coming back. They're coming back. They're coming back to do their own series. This was something that they've been planning in the works ever since Andrew Lincoln left. Is doing a movie or
Mhm.
series of movies, but with the loss of popularity of The Walking Dead since his departure, they're now just putting it straight to a series as far as his return in a limited series. to AMC Plus. It's not going to be an extended season by season by season. It's just going to be a limited series because I know both Andrew Lincoln and Danai Gurira are very busy with other projects, including Wakanda Forever for Danai Gurira. I want to go ahead and mention that as well. The Orville, the reason why they were there at Comic Con was not to announce a season four. Hopefully they will, but they are coming to Disney Plus. All their episodes for the first three seasons will be coming to Disney Plus in August, so that's the main reason why they were there. Star Trek had so many things that they showed off. Picard season three, they showcased a trailer covering Star Trek Lower Decks. They announced a live action crossover with some of the characters from Lower Decks appearing in season two of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So look for that when that happens. But yes, they announced a whole bunch of good things at Star Trek as well. Want to go ahead and also mention that John Wick Chapter 4. John Wick was there to drop a lot of news on his upcoming Berserker anime that's coming to Netflix. He also dropped a trailer for John Wick Chapter 4 coming out next year. That looked tremendous. Any thoughts on what you saw over the course of Comic Con before we hit up some more stuff before we head on out?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like we haven't talked about these high fantasy series that they've been prominent there. Like I tell you, I was not the last season of Game of Thrones left such a poor taste in my mouth that I was not excited to go back to this world. But after seeing the
House of the
trailer for
Dragon.
House of the Dragon, like I am like, wow, my wife's been wanting to check out Game of Thrones at some point, and so I figured like, hey, it's coming on just in time. We can watch House of the Dragon, then we can watch Game of Thrones, and then the Jon Snow sequel is coming out. So I think this is a good place to jump on, and the trailer looks magnificent. The everything about it looks cool. Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings
Rings.
was another one, yeah, and I was like, it's not a movie, it's not this like epic, but it is. It's not. I don't know. It's not like an epic pop culture event like the movies were. But then I was like, it looks like they really dumped a ton of money into this because this looks great. If not,
$500 million, my friend.
yeah. And I was like, if not better than some of the things that are in the movies themselves. Like this could be really, really cool, assuming they don't try to drag it on for tons and tons of seasons.
I tell you, man, just so much at Comic Con blew me away. Everything is laid out for you on the Pop Culture Cosmos Facebook page, the news feed. If you look again, over 60 articles relating to Comic Con, all the great news. We didn't even mention stuff like MODOK. We didn't, appearing at MODOK being announced or being talked about for what's coming up, with Ant-Man. We didn't talk about all the stuff coming up with Kang. We didn't talk about all the stuff that's going on with the Sandman for Netflix. That was showcased at Comic Con. Can't understand why it's on Netflix because it's a DC property. You'd think it would be on HBO Max, but you know what? I'm not the person in charge of that.
Yeah,
But
well, it's Vertigo, right? And Vertigo's
yeah,
owned by DC, but yeah, I don't know what the contracts look like.
yeah, that's kind of weird. But yeah, there's so much there announced at Comic Con. We're covering it all. So much to talk about, so much to see, so much to go ahead and check out right there at Pop Culture Cosmos. Again, Marvel, a ton of stuff that was announced. Even the Marvel animation, What If, was announced for a season three already. Even they haven't even showed off season two, but they've already been renewed for a season three. They showcased that. Spider-Man Freshman Year with Charlie Cox in there, going to go ahead and put his voice to that animated show. So much other Marvel animation that was also announced. So many things that went on. Again, Star Trek, Star Wars, they announced for the Acolyte, they announced the lead for that. So, yeah, there was just so much going on at Comic Con. And of course, just to cover it all, got it here at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. But your thoughts, your final thoughts on Comic Con. Was this the best Comic Con ever, in your opinion?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. I remember being more excited about like the earlier phases of the Marvel stuff just because we had never seen it before, but
Yeah.
seeing like this is more like, oh yeah, it's gonna be cool, but I really hope they have a plan to like top what they've already done because I don't want to see. I don't want Thanos to be the ceiling and then have them constantly performing underneath that ceiling.
I just think that Marvel Comic Con, what was it, Comic Con 2018 or 2019 when they announced that slate? I
Mm-hmm.
think that for me was probably the best one because, like you said, everybody was coming off the buzz of what was going on with Infinity War, of course, Avengers Endgame. Everybody knew what was going on with that. So I
Yeah.
really think that those that Comic Con in particular to me, I think was the most outstanding. Although this isn't too far behind, just because of the fact I was so disappointed at DC's showing this year. I really think they dropped
Yeah.
the ball and they dropped it big time.
But before we move on from DC, can we talk about? I know we're crunched on time here, but Henry Cavill, what a jerk, like he was there and he posted a picture of himself in front of the Superman suit, and instantly the internet's like, oh, they're going to announce another Superman movie, or they're going to continue the Zack Snyder verse, and nothing.
Nothing.
Sorry, I don't mean he's actually a jerk. I love the guy, but like, like, that was such a cruel tease.
And well, that's also Warner Brothers as well, because there were so many rumors he was going to be there, and nothing was announced. Absolutely
Mhm.
nothing. Dwayne Johnson had to go ahead and talk about it live, and he had to dance around the subject of him actually appearing going forward in the DC universe, because I know he wants, as Black Adam, to face off against Henry Cavill Superman. They're good friends in real life, so I know that he wants to go ahead and be able to express that to the fans, and of course, it didn't get done. And
Yeah.
again, dropped the ball by DC. I really think that they had the chance and opportunity to go ahead and really prove themselves once again as the number one pop culture entity as far as out there, not number one pop culture entity that's out there, and they didn't get it done. But my
Yeah.
friend, just so much news to cover, so much stuff to talk about. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
No, there's a lot here. There's a lot. I think we're good. We'll table any more for next time.
Okay. I mean, this is going to be leaving us talking for several episodes to come. I
Mhm.
know that the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's not set in stone. Yes, I know they gave release dates for all the stuff, but you and I both know there's more to come and there's more to change for the MCU. And of
Mhm.
course, it gets covered right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great